every week there's a new crisis. There's a crisis of the climate crisis, the financial crisis. There's all these crises, and both public servants and citizens alike are suffering from, crisis fatigue. People just start to switch off. So I suppose what I'm trying to say, Susan, is to cut the wheat from the chaff. Do you feel there's an appropriate level of, I suppose you'd say, urgency from government leaders and department bureaucrats at this point in time? And that was the major question from a lot of people.
Well, no, I don't. So foot and mouth is a disease that's been in other countries around the world, India and Vietnam and others, South America, the famous outbreak in the UK in 2001. But it has never been as close to us in the sort of numbers that it is now. And particularly somewhere like Bali, where we have nearly 1 million people a year travelling between Australia and Bali. They are coming back in thongs. They've dragged their suitcase through the streets. They might have bought some food samples that they enjoyed over there, and that's all pouring back into Australia. So it's 3 weeks tomorrow since the outbreak was discovered in Bali, and I think that's changed the playing field. So we're now 3 weeks into this. We're only just moving to put down disinfectant pads. We haven't moved to stopping food coming in with passengers. The Northern Territory can manage it. They've got big bins at the airport. Just leave all your snacks here. We are still working on the quarantine program. On the vaccination program. So roughly about 700,000 vaccinations for foot and mouth have been given. Nothing like that number for lumpy skin disease. But remembering that Indonesia is its own sovereign country. We can't march in there and demand, or all we can do is provide support and aid to allow them to do this. And I think we need to be doing more of that. But more importantly is our front line, our front door, thinking about what are the messages that we've got. When you see people going into New Zealand, they talk about people who've had contact with grass and soil. And they ask that it's not just if you've been on a farm, but if you've been in that sort of environment. We still talk about, have you been on a farm? Well, if you're a tourist who's gone to stay in Bali, 25% of the 143,000 people who went to Bali last month, 23% stay in a private residence. That private residence might have the hosts, the people who are running that at 6 o'clock in the morning on their farm caring for their sick pig. And then at 8 o'clock in the morning cooking breakfast for the Australians who are about to go back and get a plane back to Australia. That's the kind of transfer risk that is different to where we are in other countries. So it means that we have got to be focusing on making our biosecurity of every person who comes into this country, that they understand what their risk is. We stop talking about farms. We talk about grass and soil. We talk about footwear. We talk about definitely no food products coming into the country. And unless we are really confident that we're getting that right, then we're betting the farm.